I'll never forget that night when I stepped onto my own driveway and saw the heavy steel chain I had locked around my boat sliced clean in half, like it was butter. The space where my boat should have been was just empty. And on the step, under a rock, a note. "Move your boat. I moved it for you." That wasn't a neighborhood dispute anymore. That was war. Act 1. The Spark. My name's David Carter, and until a few months ago, I thought I lived in a quiet little slice of Paradise Lakeshore Drive. A row of cabins, good neighbors, the smell of pine drifting in every window. My wife, Emily, and I had saved for years to buy a small fishing boat. Nothing fancy, just 2 seats, an outboard motor, and a whole lot of memories waiting to happen. And we were making them sunsets. Laughter. Emily, trying to fish and only pulling up old boots. Her brother Jack, telling Coast Guard stories while grilling hot dogs by the water. That boat was our freedom. But freedom doesn't sit well with Karen Whitfield. Karen, our HOA president. Short blonde bob, sunglasses like a crown, clipboard like a weapon. She thrived on rules and power. 5 years running the board. And she treated the neighborhood like her kingdom. The first time she saw the boat, she stomped across the street and barked. Boats belong in the marina, not in driveways. It ruins the neighborhood aesthetic. I looked around: trailers, campers, jet skis parked in half the yards. And those, I asked? That's different. She snapped. Karen, logic. No one argued with it, because arguing only made her louder. But the louder she got, the more neighbors peeked out their windows. She loved an audience. One Saturday morning, she stood at the edge of my driveway, jabbing her pen at my boat like it was a corpse. "Move this now or I'm calling the cops." I sipped my coffee, calm as I could. "It's on my property. Karen, it's registered. It's not hurting anyone." Her face flushed red. "Do you know the HOA can fine you, maybe even take you to court?" Then she pulled out her phone and made the call right there, loud enough for the whole street. "Yes, I'd like to report an illegally parked boat at Lakeshore Drive." Neighbors gasped. She smirked, certain she'd won. What she didn't know, the person who answered her call, that was my brother-in-law, Captain Jack, Coast Guard, and the man who regulated this lake. When his truck pulled up, blue letters spelling U.L. Coast Guard across the side. The whole neighborhood froze. Karen strutted over, waving her clipboard like the Constitution. "This man is in violation," she announced. Jack looked at me, then at Emily, and said evenly, "Ma'am, this man happens to be my brother-in-law." Silence. A kid on a bike stopped mid-pedal, jaw hanging open. Karen's face went pale. Jack laid it out. Private property. Registered boat. No law broken. The HOA had no jurisdiction. Neighbors chuckled. Some even clapped. Karen sputtered, hissed, "This isn't over," and stormed off. And God help me, I knew she meant it. Act. Escalation and the breaking point. For a week, things were quiet. Too quiet. Until sirens screamed outside my house one morning. A sheriff's cruiser, environmental services, lake patrol. 3 officials at once. Anonymous tip. One said, "Fuel spill from your boat, leaking toward the lake." My stomach dropped. On the driveway, a faint dark streak snaked toward the storm drain. They tested everything. Motor, fuel cans, bilge, clean. Then we found it. An empty bottle of motor oil half hidden by the bushes. Security footage showed a hooded figure sneaking in at 2E2A. Memi, pouring the oil, shaking the bottle, tossing it into the shrubs. I didn't say the name out loud. I didn't have to. From her lawn across the street, Karen stood like a statue, arms folded, sunglasses glinting, watching. They cleared me, but it didn't matter. Damage was done. Neighbors whispered, doubts spread, and then came the meeting. Karen called an emergency session at the community center. Rows of folding chairs. Neighbors packed shoulder to shoulder, buzzing like a hornet's nest. Karen sat at the board table like a queen on her throne. She stood, voice sharp. "This resident has repeatedly violated the spirit of our HOA guidelines by parking a large, unsightly boat in plain view. Despite complaints, he refuses to move it. Tonight, we must vote to ban this behavior before our neighborhood turns into a junkyard." Whispers, some nods. A man frowned. "My brother parks his RV in his driveway. Are we banning those too?" Karen doubled down, slammed her hand on the table. "This is different." Jack stood up slowly, his Coast Guard uniform crisp. "Before you vote, Let me make this clear. This boat breaks no law. It's registered, inspected, compliant. The HOA has no authority here. Karen's eyes darted, desperate. This sets a bad example. Rules exist for a reason. But when the vote came, she lost. Badly. That's when she pointed straight at me, eyes blazing. If the HOA won't stop you, then I'll find another way. You'll regret this. Her voice cut me to the bone, and she meant every word. That night, I sat on the porch with Emily. Maybe she wins, I whispered. Maybe I should sell the boat. Maybe it's not worth it. For the first time, I doubted myself, doubted if I was the problem. If maybe, just maybe, Karen was right. Emily took my hand. It's not just a boat. It's our freedom, our life. Don't let her steal that from you. And then I knew I couldn't fold. But Karen wasn't finished. Because the next night, my boat was gone. Chain sliced. Hitch lock smashed. Empty driveway. And that note, move your boat. I moved it for you. Something inside me snapped. With Jack and the sheriff, we tracked it down a dirt road by the cove. My boat was hitched to a green Ford. 2 men standing with a crowbar and flashlight. Sheriff's department. Drop it. The crowbar clattered. 1 man ran. Another raised his hands, shaking. Backup swarmed. They were cuffed. My boat scratched, scarred but still mine. And in the thief's pocket, an HOA complaint form, signed by Karen Whitfield. My blood ran cold. Act 3. The fall. The next meeting was chaos. Packed tighter than ever. People whispering. Phones out. Waiting for the show. One of the thieves, the tall one, staggered forward. Voice hoarse. She paid us, he said, jerking a thumb toward Karen. Not just for the boat. For the letters. The spray paint. All of it. Said if we made him look bad enough, she'd get her HOA seat back. Gasps. Then he pulled an envelope from his pocket, thick with bills. Here's the rest of her cash. I'm done. He slapped it onto the table. The sheriff flipped it open. $20. 50 50s. 100 C's. On the back, 2 initials in black marker. Tatkiru. Cha. Karen's face didn't twitch. She just crossed her arms. Chin high. They're criminals. They'll say anything to save themselves. The sheriff's voice was flat, cold as stone. Ma'am, you recognize this envelope. Never seen it before. She shrugged. The thief barked a laugh. Lady, your initials are on it. Gasps rippled through the crowd again. Jack stood, muscles tight. Sheriff, you want me to step out while you make the arrest? The sheriff shook his head. Your family stays. Everyone stays. Then he turned to Karen. Ma'am, you are under arrest for conspiracy, vandalism, harassment, and filing false claims with this court. Phones shot up. Recording. Neighbors stood on chairs for a better view. Karen rose slowly, clipboard still in hand, like she might wield it one last time. But it was useless. Deputies cuffed her wrists. She kept her head high, eyes cold, silent as they led her out the side door. The crowd erupted, half in applause, half in disbelief. The board resigned that night. The HOA, after years of fines and fear, collapsed in a single evening. And me, I just sat there, staring at the spot where Karen had stood, feeling every ounce of rage, relief, and exhaustion crash into me at once. Closing line. Power built on control and fear will always crumble, because truth doesn't need permission to stand.